the button.
I have a red light.
Okay, so that means we're going. Oh, we're going.
Yes, we're going. We're live. Hi,
I
guys.
love it. We're live and we're ready to rock and roll with Miss Connie Matthews, Mrs. Connie Matthews.
Thank you.
Welcome, Connie.
Thank you, Janice.
I'll share a little story about Connie that's really beautifully written. My parents were refugees from Hungary in '58, which is when I was born, but in Australia. I never knew my father as they divorced when I was 3. I discovered through life that we are all interconnected. If you were to put 12 people into a room and share their upbringing, each one would have a similar story. I know this as a fact. Our upbringing is what shapes us. It's what either breaks us or makes us. Very true. We can either sit in victimhood or thank our parents for the lessons of upbringings, mould ourselves, take control, and help others. I think I knew this intuitively when I was young. Highly competitive sport was where I put my energy for 26 years, of which 16 was coaching. Now, that's a very unique area because you were ice skating. Is that correct, Miss Connie?
Correct. Yeah.
An elegant sport in itself.
Yeah.
It taught me goal setting, planning, determination, commitment, and the will to drive to succeed. It taught me to want to do well at everything I put my mind to, and I could. My passion was coaching. The logical move for me was to move into the fitness world, and seeing others achieve their fitness and weight goals was inspiring. I accidentally moved into sales. Now, how do you accidentally move into sales? How does that happen?
Do you want me to tell you now?
Yeah? Just a little quick, succinct view?
You want to? Oh, there's nothing succinct about anything I do. Within the fitness industry, traditionally at Christmas time, everybody shuts down and they all go and eat and yada, 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 yada. And at that time, my fitness group that I was with was still advertising. And the girls in the office, because I was the PA to the managing director of several gyms, but I was also the aerobic coordinator and had 16 staff that I was looking after. Uh-huh. And the staff were ringing me at 6:30 in the morning going, because all the sales stuff had gone on holidays. The girls were ringing me at 6:30, Connie, we've got people, they want to be presented, they want to buy memberships. So I would get on my push bike because I was living in the city and ride in, and no joke, I was presenting half hour for 12 hours over the entire Christmas period. And when we came back and analysed my statistics, which you now know what that's all about, my closing ratios, I was actually better than the closing staff. The staff had.
So this is how you fell into sales.
I fell into it. Most
Amazing.
People, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So from there, many people don't realise, but salespeople are the backbone to our country. It's what keeps our economy alive. If you are passionate about the product, service you offer, it offers the opportunity to grow, develop into leadership, produce an income, or both, and you and the people you help. I see this as another coaching role, and so that's what I do. Love it, Connie. I love it. And even that falling into sales fits perfectly into where we want to go here. It's beautiful.
There you go. Thank you.
So we'll move into the overall outline of the total interview, and I'll start with question 1, which is, with everything that has happened in your life, what was your biggest wake-up call that had you look towards personal development as a way to improve your life and your mindset around that in that point in time?
Well, that was actually a big, huge learning curve for me, and it actually did happen in the fitness industry. When you do highly competitive sport, you live in an autocratic world. So when you are a competitor, you are told when to get up, when to train, what to eat, when to go to sleep, what off-ice activities you have to do. You're constantly being told what to do. Hence, you need leaders, guys. When I started coaching, I was doing the same thing. And
okay.
I certainly wasn't a Nazi, but I was certainly very strict.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was very strict. And that was because if your parents are paying good money for you to learn to skate, well then if you're going to be in here, you're going to learn to skate. And
Correct.
if you don't want to be here, you get off.
Exactly.
End of story. So, and I told the parents that too, by the way. But anyway, so...
And that's not a Nazi?
No, I don't think I was.
No,
it was just that...
you were firm in your word.
I was firm. There was group classes and then there was competition.
Yep.
And, you know, when you're doing a group class and you just want to skate around the rink and have a little bit of fun and be interactive, well, then that's great. But if you actually want to learn and you want to get that double jump or the triple jump or the quad jump, which we didn't do back then, by the way, but now they're doing quadruples.
Correct.
If you want to do that and if you want to be in Melbourne in a particular day to compete and get a particular medal, the whole thing has to be mapped out.
Correct.
So my biggest lesson, guys, is that when I actually moved into the fitness world and I had 16 girls that I used to look after, I was too busy telling everybody what to do. And that was the biggest lesson that I learned in my entire life, because you can't tell people what to do. You can encourage them and you can guide them and you can lead them.
True.
Internet connection is unstable. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
You can still hear me. Okay.
Yep.
So the biggest thing the biggest thing as any leader is you cannot drag anybody by their hair to get your goal. The thing you have to be mindful of is everybody's got different drivers, different strengths, different weaknesses, different goals, and different internal and external pressures. Yeah. So as a leader, you need to be aware of that and you need to work with people at their pace. Yeah. And that was actually my biggest lesson, because I kind of thought, well, you know, this is what I've told you to do. Why can't you do that? Yeah. You can't tell people that. You actually have to encourage them and engage them and take ownership of what it is that you're actually wanting them to do.
Correct.
So that was actually my biggest lesson, you know, because I spent half my life in an autocratic world.
So come from your mindset. Were you aware of how your mind was working at that point in time? Were you aware that no, so you just worked off?
I wasn't.
Okay.
No, because I was so strict on, like, my year was planned for competition, and then when I coached, I planned the kids' year. Yep. And you had to have certain levels to get to be at the end of the year at this particular competition. So it was, you are here. This is what you are doing. Yep. And I'm not going to take anything. You don't want to be here? There's the door. I was actually quite strict about that.
And that you have to be as a coach, because you've got to find the dedication from you.
Yeah, but when you go from there into the business world, it's a very different story, because you have to get the best out of people, and you can't get the best out of people when you're telling them what to do.
Correct. Correct.
You really need to get them to learn and blossom and want to do that themselves, and that's a little bit of a tricky thing. So it was a lesson that I learnt, and I'm grateful that I learnt that lesson, very grateful. Otherwise, I'd still be bossing everybody around. Now, my husband says I boss him around, but that's
another story. Wonderful. I love it. Okay, so we'll move on. Who was one of the top leaders in the personal development world that inspired you? I.e., that would be somebody like Bob Proctor, Mike Dillard, Tony Robbins, John DeMartini, Christopher Howard, Wayne Dwyer, Elias Hay, and the list goes on.
On and on and on and on. I know we have so many amazing people in our world. Do you know, the very first book that I ever read was Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, and to this day it's still really popular.
Oh yeah.
There are so many that I read. Norman Vincent Peale is another oldie. Zig Ziglar is another one.
Correct.
But the one I think that probably, and everybody knows him, Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins. My learning curve is always slow to take off, but when I get something, I kind of like fly. And I started at this particular job and I couldn't get it. I don't know why I couldn't get it. So a bit like what we're doing at the moment, I went looking for something to help me, and I discovered Anthony Robbins. And I bought the set of tapes, guys, tapes. So not CDs.
Shh, don't say that's too old.
At the time, I know. At the time, the cars, our company cars that they gave us, only had the tape insert, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to Tony Robbins every single day for 12 months.
Yep.
And in that 12 months, I became number one in the country for sales. But I also, at that time, broke the Australian record. The previous consultant had done something like 330, and I had done 550.
Wow,
so
what a jump.
It's a huge, huge jump.
Yeah.
And I've never met Tony Robbins, guys. I wouldn't, I know what he looked like. If he stood next to me, I'd probably melt. However, he was probably very instrumental in my growth at that time.
Yeah. And I think he's somebody that's been around for such a long time, that he's instrumental in a lot of us as a base level, and then others have come on board and we've connected the other way. So, yeah, I highly agree with you. Tony Robbins is probably one of the best. So from that, if he's been your biggest inspirations, when did you know that you recognised you were on path and really feel with the emotion that your life was going to change? Is there a feeling of something different that, inspired you to want to do more?
Gee, at this age, I could give you lots of examples, but let's stick to the recent one. So I actually literally retired 3.5 years ago, guys, and at the time I was quite happy to do that because I was starting at 5 in the morning, finishing at 10 o'clock at night. It was really, it was a little bit stressful. Corporate world, that's what it is. So I actually did retire, and that was fine for the first 12 months, 24 months. We went overseas, came back, traveled. We actually packed up and went back to Adelaide because that's where we're from. And then I didn't want to be there because it was too cold, so we packed up and came back again. And then I started a little business because I wanted to do a little bit of personal styling. And when I was in the corporate world, I worked with a lot of SMEs that needed to perhaps take a good look at the way they were presenting themselves. So that got me back, and I only wanted at the time to just do a little bit of work. But as time progressed, I got the bug back to say, well, you know what, I'm one of these that does like to achieve. Let's just take the next step. So I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to earn more than what I earned before, and I earned a very good sum at the time, and I want to do it with myself, for myself. So I started a multi-level marketing business, just like many others, and as per normal, I couldn't work out why wasn't it working. So I went looking for something else, and I don't know if you can hear the garbage truck outside. Can you hear the garbage truck?
Oh, we can hear a background noise, but I think it's also my fan, but that's okay. Keep going. I don't understand the excitement.
Yeah, excitement. So I went looking for a training program that would give me the skill set to actually excel. And you are in this program as well. And I think for me, it's probably a light bulb moment for me now to be able to, because I worked in the digital media as well, when this particular thing was presented to me, this training program was presented, it made so much sense in terms of marketing strategies and online component, personal branding, and millionaire mentorship. And if I look at all of that, and then I actually look at what I've done in the past, I've spent a lot of time coaching, and I've spent a lot of time teaching people with their fitness and getting them healthy and losing weight. And that all is coaching as well. So I kind of like look back now into my past and I think, oh my gosh, that is what I've always enjoyed. And I like the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing now. And I guess the light bulb moment for me is I've been able to put together what I have done in the past and what I left just recently, 11 years with Census in digital media, and put those together with this particular program that we do help people it is so humbling to be able to help others get what they want from their businesses and to succeed. And it doesn't necessarily have to be huge dollars, guys.
No.
It might be something small that you might want to learn. And again, if your pace is a bit slower than everybody else and you have a full-time job and they don't, it's okay. It's okay to do that. And it's okay to take your time and go, oh my gosh, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. It's okay. So for me, I'm just blessed to have found what I've found. And it really resonates with me. And the fact that I'm able to help people and take them on a journey at their pace. Yeah. I'm hoping I've answered the question, Janice.
Yeah. No, look, you have. And I'll sum it up by saying, from Roger Hamilton, you are in flow.
You're in what, sorry?
Flow. F-L-O-W. Yeah. You are in flow.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So everything is falling into place. The area of what you've enjoyed doing is now exactly what you're doing, but you're doing it also for your own benefit, and you are increasing yourself because you're doing everything around what is in flow for you.
Yep.
And I love
Absolutely.
it. I love it. It's how I feel in everything that I'm doing at the moment. So I love it, Connie. Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. I mean, when we think about it, it's all got to come back to, we have to explore our own mind and expand.
Yep.
Right? And I'll go back to a little quote that I said this morning in my own interview. Where you start is not always where you will finish.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful little journey. I love it. You've just beautifully. So, did you have any coincidences? And I think you've actually probably answered this in part of the conversation there, but did you have any coincidences or actual little events that occurred in life that were in alignment to your journey that you were happy to share? You may have had an experience where you saw somebody on stage, and this is just the example. You saw somebody on stage and said, yep, that's what I want to do. And that was just a little indicator that, wow, I'm on path, I'm following that, I'm following that, I'm following that.
Well, you know, sometimes it's not about me, Janice. I get more joy and more excitement out of watching others. So for me, it's more about seeing somebody else excel. So, and I know that in our system, we are taught to learn, implement, and share. And when we share our knowledge, we're sharing a lot about ourselves, our naked soul, but we're also sharing our own results. And whilst a lot of people focus on what it is that I've actually achieved in 3 months in part-time hours, it's humbling that people take that on board, but it's not about me, Janice. It's
a good point.
It's more exciting to see you, to see my guys in Ontario do so well, and I interviewed one of my ladies myself the other day, and she recruited 2 people last week into her business, and that's come from the information that we are sharing. So I'm more excited to hear those stories. And I know that everybody wants to, these days, this is my second interview today, guys, and your third. So it's humbling that people want to know what it is that I am doing, but it's more exciting to be able to help others along their journey.
Totally. And I'm going to say, in a nutshell, from the overall, the incidences that have occurred for you is, you found the outlet. It's within power of exactly what you want to do. You get inspired because you've met other people that you've been able to share content with. You are totally in alignment, congruent to exactly what you need to be doing.
Yep.
And that's the bottom line of it all, Connie. So perfect. You're what shall I say? You're a magnet in your own self, but you let out at the same. No, don't go like that. But yeah, I mean, you actually exude out as much as you bring in, and that in itself, is an absolute bonus for you and for others that connect with you. We'll go to our final question, and we share, What led you to create your business sales page? I think it's Sales Tips with Connie Matthews. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you've also got Connie Matthews Style. Am I right there?
Connie Matthews, the stylish director.
There you go. So would you like to just elaborate how they all came about as part of this overall journey? And you can give yourself a little plug.
I'll give myself a little plug. Okay. Because I came out of the digital media, and that's where I've been working for 11 years, I totally understand and resonate with how the digital marketplace works. Now, as a salesperson in that industry, I had to know a little bit about everything. I didn't build anything, guys. I didn't build or put together SEO, SEM, and all the rest of it. I sold it, and then I used to go to the department and say, this is how I want it to look. So it's totally important. So the Connie Matthews, the stylish director, is my personal styling page. And then I've got Stylish Health, which is actually my multi-level marketing business. And then I've got a sales funnel for what it is that we do, but I've also got a landing page for what we do. A landing page with Connie is just conniematthews.style, and it's got those other things actually on there. So I think that these days I focus more on conniematthews.style because that's the landing page. And I much prefer now to be focusing on the digital component and teaching marketing strategies. And the sales, where I focus is everything happens on my Facebook page, my personal page. But anyone that's actually interested in developing their selling skills, I actually move them over into Sales Tips with Connie Matthews. Now, the reason I do that, guys, and is really important to take note of this because this is such a big, should be an aha moment. Most people that are in a multi-level marketing business aren't taught marketing strategies, because when you actually promote the business that you're with, what you typically do is promote the logo of the business that you're with, the name of the business, and then your name is like in these tiny little letters. So what's happening is you're actually advertising the company and the company name. You're not actually advertising yourself. So, and the thing is that these companies won't teach you marketing strategies, because what's happening is you're doing their advertising for them for free at your cost.
Correct.
So the personal development page is more about just little tips on how to actually market yourself. And I try to keep them small and short, because otherwise I could be there all day long on one thing. So little things like when you do a Facebook Live, turn your phone landscape, because if you have a portrait and you replay, you got these black strips down the side. Little things about, I actually did a larger post yesterday on email lists. Why should you have an email list? What's the relevance about that? And in fact, let me just have a little squeeze. Well, I'll just, because I put lots on there. Sometimes I'll post a lot, and then sometimes I'll just do a little bit.
It's all beneficial.
Yeah, because I don't want to blast everybody and go, this is what you should be doing. And sometimes I might do a little bit funnies as well. So for an example, the copyright issues, I put copyright issues on their basics the other day, because we all take photos off of the internet and use them. And technically, legally, we shouldn't be doing that, guys, because you can get caught and you can get fined. And so I put a little thing up there on that, so be aware of that. And
a very important one.
I would think that most people, little people, probably won't get done, but my girlfriend actually does have a business, and one of her staff did exactly that, and her business was fined, I think it was $15,000. That's not a small fine, guys. That could do people in.
Totally.
The email marketing list, I also put that up there as well. What's in a personal brand? Tag yourself, guys. Every time you see yourself on a video, or you see yourself on the internet, tag yourself. So all you have to do is right click and put your name to your picture. And this is how this works, guys. My grandson, 8, said to me the other day, Mama, you're internet famous. Sweet. Job done.
Oh, that's Top Gun. I love it.
Just little things like that. So
make a difference.
It does make a difference. And what about, I've got, hashtag, create your own hashtag, guys, because then you can become easily recognizable. So when I do my posts in the personal development page, I do hashtag sales with Connie Matthews, or hashtag leadership with Connie Matthews, or hashtag funnies with Connie Matthews. So create your own, because then what happens is that when someone looks for that, they're going to find on the internet a whole string of stuff that you've actually done. So, and I guess what I'm trying to say here is, in that personal development group, for example, these are tips that your multi-level marketing businesses won't share with you, and because they want you to do their advertising for them. And it's not about them. You should be branding yourself.
Correct. Love it.
So
love it, Connie. Perfect. I mean, I love all the hints and tips, and that is one thing you are a credit for doing, because you actually share quite significant little bits and pieces at the point, at that point. And, you know, somebody somewhere that's listening will, oh, that's interesting. Oh, so that, right. I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, and an absolute pleasure to have this conversation, as well as to be able to work with. So I'll bring this interview into a closure. I thank you so much for your time and sharing your story and tidbits and that have happened in your life. And we look forward to touching base with you again soon. Thanks,
awesome.
Connie.
Thank you so much.